So next we have Hassan. So we have been working together since past few months and getting the show together. Hassan is a part of the organizing committee. So looking forward to see your presentation, Hassan, on astronomy education initiatives in Middle Atlas region of Morocco. So as soon as I read Morocco, I saw it was Hassan when I misspoke your title. Yes, over to you, Hassan.
Yeah, thank you, Ketan. Do you hear me? Do you see my presentation?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, great. My name is Hassan Darhmaoui. So I'm a physics professor at the University Al in Morocco, in Ifrane. It's a small city. I'll be talking about Astronomy Education initiative in this part where my university is located. And I've been fortunate actually to be to know this nice network, which is the GHOU. I've been actually invited to a GHOU conference by Carl. I thank you so much, Carl. He invited me to a conference in St. Petersburg in 2004. And since then, actually, we worked together. We've had actually a telescope donated by GHOU, and a lot of initiatives actually were there because of this great network that I belong in. So I'll be somehow summarizing what are the achievements since then. So for those who don't know where is Morocco, so Morocco is the northwest of Africa, and the Middle Atlas is actually mountains, and my little university is in a little town named Ifrane. It's the first university adopting the American system of education. It's teaching in English. It was created in 1995. It's adopting liberal arts. So we have this vocation of opening up to our surrounding and impacting the locals who are actually somehow favorized place in Morocco in these mountains. But nearby Ifrane, there are two major cities. One of the very old cities in the Islamic world, Fez, was the capital of Morocco, and the other one is Meknes. So they are only 60 kilometers far from my little town Ifrane, and thus they have a rich history that we are using actually in reaching out for astronomy. For example, the major city, which is Fez city, it has one of the oldest universities in the world. It's called the Qarawiyyin. So it's and by the way, this university was established by a lady called Fatima Fihriya in 1859. So this university, yes, it was forming or in religion, but it was also producing mathematicians, time observation experts, so that we call it the muwaqqits, they are like timekeepers, and we'll explain why. And there were astronomers, physicians, and so on and so on. So some historians of the time actually said that Plato and Aristotle first reached Western Europe in Arabic translations from this university, which is still working till now. So it's a very, very old university. As you may know, astronomy was important for Muslims, and that's why encouragements for research, for making tools were actually quite encouraged actually in the Islamic civilization. Because of reasons, because of the prayers of Muslims, they have to do with time in the day. The Fajr prayer is down, the Zuhr is afternoon, and so on. So the Muslims need to know when they need to pray. The second thing is the Qibla, which is the direction of the Mecca. All Muslims actually, they orient themselves towards Mecca So wherever they are on the earth, they need to know what's the direction. So Muslims were also making instruments to these directions. Also in the calendar, so Muslims, they follow the lunar calendar. So there's a month of fasting, and there's a month, there's also pilgrimage, and they need to know at which time they need to start this Ramadan and so on. So Muslims, they were actually pioneers in so many things in astronomy. In this university, Al-Qarawiyya University, you could see a minaret, and there's another minaret besides it. So there's the white one, and there's the one beneath it. That's what we call the Darhmaoui. So it's this Darhmaoui is where this astronomer or this timekeeper is using it as an observatory, by the way. But nowadays, actually, this building is hosting just some astronomy museum that exhibits some ancient instruments and like astrolabes and so on. Here are some beautiful astrolabes of that era that were made by Moroccans back in the 12th and 13th century. There are also some quadrants that were also used and made by Moroccan scholars at that time. In that university, that mosque basically, and in many mosques in Morocco, you find also sundials. We are using this actually to reach out to the little kids actually for them to learn astronomy. So one of the workshops that we use actually for our outreach is sundials. So this is an example of sundials in few mosques in Morocco, but there are also sundials in very old Atlas buildings. Like this one is in the anti-Atlas, in Berber Palace. Moroccan astronomers, there were actually some famous one like Al-Marrakeshi, and this Marrakeshi, he described more than 240 stars, and he's the author of a very large compendium on spherical astronomy and astronomical instruments. Ibn al-Banna al-Marrakeshi, he was also an astronomer. Abu Mukri. So all these very old astronomers, when we discuss, when we present them to kids in our programs, actually they were amazed of their knowledge, and they are more attracted in this. Another thing that we use actually in our outreach is that the sky, there are stars there, and most of them bear Arabic names. So Arabs, they were interested in the sky since the beginning actually, and because of that, those universities and these names actually were kept, like Al-Khor, Mizar, Al-Qaid. All those are actually Arabic names. Betelgeuse, which is Yed al-Jawza, and so on. Rijal in Arabic is leg. Saif in Arabic is sword. So these are things that encourage students actually to be more interested in astronomy, and because they know their ancestors, they were quite famous in these fields. So nowadays in Morocco, actually, there are mainly 4 universities that offer some degrees in astronomy. The major one is Marrakesh, Marrakesh University, Qadi Iyad University. We have 2 observatories, one in Marrakesh, nearby Marrakesh in Then it's working observatory with many telescopes. The one in Rabat, it's because of the light pollution, is not working anymore. And our scholars nowadays, they work in many fields in astronomy, ranging from solar oscillations, astroparticles, meteorites, and so on. And we've seen the number of astronomy clubs and astronomy associations increasing these past years, and there's an increasing interest in astronomy and so on. This is a picture of the Rabat observatory, where there is a planetarium, and kids, they come there to be introduced to astronomy. And this actually shows the major observatory in Marrakesh, Camden, that's run by Professor Zuhair bin Khaldun, a leader in astronomy, astrophysics in Africa, basically. And lots of research papers are coming out from this beautiful observatory that's located at a height of 2,700 meters. More photos. There's now a plan actually to host a 2-meter class telescope in that observatory. Research, as I said, solar physics, research in this observatory, solar physics, high resolution angular interference, planetology, exoplanets, astronomical size qualification, meteorites, and so on. Let's come back to our initiative actually in introducing astronomy to in the Middle Atlas region, and our objective is actually to help increase interest of students to science and technology, and of course we'd like to promote and develop astronomy in the Middle Atlas. So astronomy is used actually to have kids more interested in science and technology. And we have 2 programs: one program for high schools and university, and one for primary and middle schools. So as I said in the beginning, we've been actually fortunate to know the GHOU, and we have a telescope, a robotic telescope that was established in 2012 at GHOU University, but now we have another telescope there. And these robotic telescopes are now increasing in numbers. So far we have like 4 robotic telescopes in amateur telescopes in Morocco. Mainly they are used for astrophotography, but some of those, like the one in Marrakesh and the one in Ifrane, we are using them also for some research and little projects for students, like exoplanets and so on. We organized actually the GHOU meeting in 2012, and this is where we inaugurated this observatory. Thanks again to CAR for this. And we organized also the first Africa regional conference. So the idea is to have this conference in regional, as a region, so we'll have face-to-face astronomers, where nearby countries they could help each other to introduce this very, very nice fields into our schools. Some of our contribution is like translation into Arabic to Sasaje, the software that's used. Our students also in many of high schools and university, they participate in the IASC or Isaac for International Astronomic Research Collaboration, and I'm thankful to Patrick Miller, who introduced us to this. Our students, they've been able actually to do the nice detection of asteroids and so on. So we have many programs for outreach. We have festivals, astronomy festivals, like in Ifrane, we are hosting a yearly festival of astronomy, and lots of people, they come to this very small city to attend our festival. We are now preparing for the 10th edition of this festival. So the last one was last year. And to move a little more, actually, we are now part of the Arab Astronomical Society, where we encourage our students, especially master and doctoral students, to go into research in astrophysics. We've been also fortunate actually to work with the Galileo Teacher Training Program, and so far we organized many workshops. So far we have many teachers, either Galileo teachers or Galileo ambassadors, and there's like more than 300 teachers who are helping in the program for to do outreach to our students. And they've been very helpful actually in promoting astronomy for kids in Morocco. And this will lead me to the second part, which is astronomy for kids. And the idea here is introduce students to very basic things in astronomy, like the solar system, like the moon phases, sundials, and so on. So the kids will understand basics of astronomy. They will know their environment, global environment, and they will know that they are part of a small, very small world, and they have to live where we have to live all together. And I've been also fortunate actually to through GHOU and GTTP to know the GHOU program, Universal Awareness, and we create the GHOU Morocco program. And there are many programs actually in different schools where we hold a lot of workshop for kids. Some photos of the workshop that we are doing, and the idea is actually the kid will make something and he will take it with him or with her, so they could show it with pride to their parents, and they will put it, and then they remember the workshop. And that was very successful, and it is still ongoing workshop. We adopted some of the workshops made by UNAWI, but we made also our own workshops worldwide. We have like a web page for all these workshops that we are doing. So our contribution also was actually translation of this book of different workshop. It was translated into Arabic, University in a Box, and there is a booklet that we distribute to students that was also translated into Arabic. So this adventure actually that started actually by knowing the GHOU network. It was a great thing that I'm really proud of, and that contributed to the development of astronomy in Morocco. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. It was a beautiful presentation, and the way you made us flow through a journey of the history to the current activities, and it was such a beautiful spectrum of so many activities shown to us. So I was really impressed, and I was really engrossed in seeing what all you have been doing. Friends, so I can see a hand raised by Carl.
Me? Sorry, last question for the next 10 minutes. Oh, Hossein, this is so fantastic. Thank you.
Carl, really.
Boy, I'm so impressed by you. Hey, I had a thought. Maybe could you become leader of United States Hands-On Universe? We need you, please. But actually, in that spirit of sharing, I talked to my good friend and collaborator Richard Piccioni, who has an EV scope, and we think we can sit. This is a very nice portable automated telescope that really works great. We hope we can put that on loan to you if you're open to that, if you could use it. But there's, the EV scope, you set it down. It's an automated telescope that can see Messier galaxies from the inside of Paris, from downtown Paris.
So I forgot to say that in that observatory, we have also an all-sky camera, and we are actually partnering up with university in Australia, University of Qadi in Morocco, and University Hassan II in Casablanca to detect fireballs. And we've been successful actually to track 2 fireballs so far, which was great. Actually, it was
congratulations.
Yeah.
So you and Richard should be in communication soon, I hope.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Great, Hassan. So we are almost on time, so we might want to shift to the next presentation. There are a few comments, and one by Bonnie. So you can answer it on the message list. Hassan, you can also answer on the message list.